There were families who were strictly Reformed, and there were families who were strictly Orthodox, and then there were families that were kind of what you would call maybe moderate to both sides. And our families were that. Fort Worth was kind of a unique community because there were a lot of dual members of families who would support both, because there wasn't enough to take care of, individually. My grandfather on my mother's side served as president of the Orthodox Congregation. It was on Taylor Street. In fact, it's right where the federal building is today. And next door to that was the Hebrew Institute. It was about a 3-story red brick building that would kind of served as the combination of places where you could have a meeting place, and you could also do cheder and this and that and the other. At that time, the congregation, as I remember it, was Orthodox enough that the children and the women sat upstairs, and the men, of course, and young adults that were bar mitzvahed sat downstairs. And I can remember as a small child, I couldn't have been more than 5, 6, 7 years old, that I had the honor of going down sometimes and sitting in the section where my grandfather sat, which was a really big deal. Later on, the shul moved off of Myrtle Street, 1600 Myrtle, and it was built about in the early 1950s. That was where I was bar mitzvahed. But by that time, it was a beautiful congregation. It had moderated a little bit. It wasn't as Orthodox. People could sit together. It was becoming, more moderate in its belief. The temple, on the other hand, was on 308 Broadway, as I remember, or somewhere close to that. It was right next to the Broadway Baptist Church. I went to cheder, or to Hebrew school, at the shul 2 days a week, and I went to Saturday morning services at the shul. But then I would go to Sunday school at the temple, and I was, of course, bar mitzvahed at the shul. I enjoyed both congregations, loved both rabbis. The rabbi that was principally running the shul was a fellow by the name of Isidore Garsick. Rabbi Garsick had a family of several boys and one girl, he and Sadie Mae. And I was close with David, who was their oldest brother, one of the oldest brothers. In the temple at the time, there were actually Rabbi Soskin, and he went on to New York. Left, I'd say, when I was probably about 7 or 8 years old, and a Rabbi Rosenblum came in from, I think, Detroit, a wonderful fella. Milton was his first name. And then after him came Bob Schur, Robert Schur.